Yo, everyone. I'm going to go through pages 301 through 305 in this video for Distance Learning Week 6. All right. We're going to be going through object relative clauses. They're a little strange, a little confusing. You don't always need them. Anyway, here we go. Page 301, you'll see a big photo of an elephant. So, Lek Shalair and the Elephant Nature Park. The Elephant Nature Park is a rescue center that has taken care of sick elephants in northern Thailand since 1996. The park is in Chiang Mai province, and the person who runs it is an extraordinary woman, Sangduin Lek Charlet. Lek spent a lot of time with her grandfather as a child. He belonged to a tribe that lived in the forest. The time that Lek spent with him was very important to her. So, right here, the time, circle the time, and then circle that Lek spent with him. This is an example of what we're going to be going through shortly. Was very important to her. It helped her understand the wonders of nature. She created the Elephant Nature Park with her husband Adam, and the organization has received international recognition. The elephants that Lek rescues, so circle the elephants, circle that Lek rescues, come from all over Thailand. She often takes them from logging camps when they are no longer useful. Others are sick, and some are elephants which have been treated badly. Lek's work also provides medical care for villagers who need it. The idea Lek and her husband had, so circle the idea, then who had it? Lek and her husband had, was to provide a safe place for elephants to live in peace. In fact, they are doing much, much more than that. Right here, you'll see the vocabulary. One of the words says recognition, praise, and thanks for doing something good. And logging camp, a place where workers cut down trees and they use elephants to move them because they're very strong. Okay, turn the page. We're going to do the check, section 2. What did Lek's grandfather help her do? B, understand the natural world. 2, the Elephant Nature Park helps animals from where? It is in Chiang Mai province, which is in northern Thailand. However, they help elephants from all parts of the world, so it's C. 3, some elephants at the park, before they got to the park, were treated badly. B, when does Lek take elephants from logging camps? When they can't work anymore. And lastly, what is the main purpose of the Elephant Nature Park? Take care of elephants, which is C. All right, now we're on to the difficult part of this lesson. 11.3, object relative clauses, page 303. So a sentence with a relative clause combines two sentences or ideas. For example, the man is Vietnamese, period. You met him, period. Two sentences. Now, if we're going to put them together, we would say the man that you met is Vietnamese. That would make it an object relative clause. The next section for 2, you're going to use who, whom, or that for people. You're going to use that or which for places, things, and animals. For example, that is the woman who I met last week. That is the woman whom I met last week. That is the woman that I met last week. It's a personal preference thing for me, which of these I would use. Next section, the book that I'm reading now is very good, or the book which I'm reading now is very good. Both are okay, both are correct. It's a matter of personal preference, what sounds more natural to you. 3, the subject and the verb always, they are in agreement, parallel. So I like the work that she does as opposed to that she do. He, she, it does. Everything else is do. And then I like the work that they do. You wouldn't say, I like the work that they does. And lastly, do not repeat the object in an object relative clause. For example, she has a job that she loves, period, as opposed to she has a job that she loves it. So those are the rules that they've written here. As we go through it, I'll point some things out. It's a little bit confusing, especially because a lot of it is up to the speaker or the writer in their personal preference for what they like. In any case, here we go. We're going to complete the sentences. We're going to use possible relative pronouns and the simple present form of the verb in parentheses. All right. Simple present, remember, is eat, like he eats, he drives, she meets, she helps, she cooks, all these sorts of things. The elephants that or which logging camps use work very hard. Many of the loggers who that Lek meets are concerned about their elephants. So it can be who, many of the loggers who she meets, many of the loggers that she meets. Some of the elephants that Lek helps, or some of the elephants which Lek helps. Both would be correct, as long as they both have helps. The forests of northern Thailand are not a place that many tourists visit. Number 5, the problems that Lek and her team sometimes find are very serious. The people who the park hires all care about animals a lot. This one's confusing because you would think the people, and then you automatically think hire, but it's talking about the park hires. So the people who or that the park hires all care about animals a lot. The international recognition that Lek receives regularly is helpful to the park. It could also be the recognition which she receives. And lastly, she is a person who I admire, or a person that I admire. All right, so turn over to the next page. I'm going to pause really quickly. All right, we are now on 11.4. So the thing about these, which I mentioned earlier, is you don't always have to use them. In fact, most of the time you can completely go without using them. For example, you could say, the movie that I watched was called Up. The movie that I watched was called Up. You could also say, the movie I watched was called Up, where I don't use the word that at all. What we're going to do in this section is we're going to cross out the objective relative clauses without relative pronouns. So we're going to take out the things that, we're going to take out whom, we're going to take out who, and we're going to underline the relative clause. So if we go to the first example, Jan Pang is an elephant. People treated badly. Notice how they crossed out that. What we're going to do is we're going to cross out those words and then underline the clause. Number 2, Jan Pang worked in a camp that loggers built. What are we going to cross out? That. And what are we going to underline? Loggers built. Number 3, the trees, which Jan Pang moved, were large and very heavy. What are we going to cross out? Which. We're going to underline Jan Pang moved. Number 4, as Jan Pang got older, the work that, cross it out, she was doing became too hard for her. Now I'm going to have you do 5, 6, 7, and 8 on your own because I don't think you need me for that. Okay, now on to section 6. We're going to complete the object relative clause in each sentence, and we're going to write all possible relative pronouns. Kind of putting it all together, and we're going to write all the options, but we're also going to write 0 if we don't need an option. Now here's a hint. All of them, you could write 0 for no relative pronoun, but there are other things that you could write for each one. So, number 1, the book that I am reading now, the book which I am reading now, the book I am reading now. All three of those are correct. Number 2, the animals that you see in zoos, the animals which you see in zoos, the animals you see in zoos. All three of those are correct. That, which, or 0. Number 3, the woman who, the woman that, or the woman we interviewed with a 0. The singer who, that, 0, I saw on the street, has a great voice. Now try 6, 7, and 8. Solo. All right, so hopefully when it's solo time, you hit pause, and then when you're ready to come back, you hit play again. But we're on the last part now, 305, 305, 305. Here we go. We're going to do section 7. Underline the object relative clauses in the sentence. Cross out the relative pronouns. So this is going to be the same thing that we did over in section 5. So I'll do the first, I'll do number 2, 3, and 4 with you, and then you can do 5 through 10 on your own. So number 1, the example says this: the notebook that I lost had important information in it. They underlined that I lost, and they crossed out that. The person, which person? Person that I talked to on the phone, underline, was rude to me. Now what are we going to cross out? We're going to cross out that. The car that my sister bought is easy to drive. That my sister bought. And we're going to cross out that. And number 4, most of the people who I met on vacation speak German. Underline who I met on vacation and cross out who. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 on your own. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all we have for Grammar Explorer for week 6. I hope you're doing well and that you have a nice day today.